Welcome to Realitycraft. This is Evo Haining.
The editing time is where I think the most value creation is happening. So we're seeing that our users are averaging anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes of editing time per production minute of video. The industry accepted ratio is 1 hour per minute or more, right? So if you're trying to make, let's just say you are trying to make a new video on your homepage to promote your latest book, and you know the video is going to help it because you can give your own voiceover, explain what the reader is going to get out of it. If you hired an agency to do that, the expected cost of a 30-second internet video is between $800 and $1,200. For a TV ad, it's between $5,000 and $12,000, right? Production time, hours to weeks. For us, everything we do is measured by minutes. So
thank you for joining me today. This is Evo Haining at Realitycraft. I am joined by Jeremy Toeman at AugXLabs. Hi, Jeremy. How are you doing today?
Great, Evo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to look at your tools and hear more about your generative team and where you've been taking the entire industry in terms of integration between media making and generative tooling and creativity as well. So I'm going to bring up your website. This is AugXLabs, and we're going to take a look very briefly at what you've been creating here. For those of you who are new to the Realitycast, we are here looking at various AI and generative media tools for your workflows, whether you are a creator for YouTube, whether you're publishing. We're going to be looking at a wide variety of tools today. And Jeremy, I would love it if you could just tell us, we're going to breeze through your website really fast here, but I was hoping you could tell us just a little bit of what we're going to be seeing here, and maybe tell us a bit about how you got started with Augie.
Absolutely. What we're doing is we're basically trying to make video easier and more accessible to everybody, right? It's the #1 way to accomplish any marketing goal, whether you're trying to sell a product, get a subscriber. The story of this company came out of me trying to make videos. About a year and a bit ago, I had been doing a podcast for a while, and there was a lot of momentum in the podcast industry to get people to start doing more video recordings. And I was sort of scratching my head, like, I don't know if I really want to be Mr. Webcam guy. That's just sort of not my vibe. But I did think, it would be funny or actually interesting to an audience if instead of seeing me talk, they could see visuals, whether they're clips or images or whatever, that match the words I'm talking about. My co-founder and I started brainstorming how to do it. And basically January of last year, we started building what we now call Augie. It's a tool that turns your words into videos using AI and a bunch of other cool technology. If you hired an agency to do that, the expected cost of a 30-second internet video is between $800 and $1,200. For a TV ad, it's between $5,000 and $12,000, right? Production time, hours to weeks. For us, everything we do is measured by minutes. So by enabling and empowering those of us who don't have the tools, we're helping that market. We're also seeing pro video editors are using it now, because what we've done, and I talk to these folks all the time because there's so many of them using our product, and I've worked with them over the years, and their reaction's not like, oh my God, you're taking my job. The reaction very quickly is, oh, I can do the fun parts of my job with more time, right? And that's where, to me, that summarizes what AI assistant is supposed to do. Take away the boring work, give you the fun parts.
Maybe get going if you are a creator trying to use these tools today.
That's right. But if when you apply for the beta, if you tell them Evo or I sent you, we'll try to bump you up in the queue. The queue's getting a little longer, but we're scaling quickly and trying to let in as many people as fast as we can.
Excellent.
So anyhow, welcome to Augie. This is the product that you're seeing here. And the basic user interface is pretty simple. You've got your preview. You've got your timeline, storyboard, film strip. People call these different things, but basically this is all the content that's going to be in your video. And then you have the transcript. And for anyone who's ever done video editing, what you'll notice right away is where's all the stuff that I'm supposed to do? I have to drag this to here and coordinate this there and push this thing over there. We realized that if we want to make average people, if we want to give the yous and me's of the world the ability to do some video editing, we're going to have to make all that much, much easier. So our system is designed to use the transcript to control the entire video content. So let's listen to it again for the first just few seconds here, and you'll see what I mean. I often get asked, what are all the cool features my product has? So here's what you can do in Augie. Okay, so I often get asked, right? And that's what you saw it switch to this what can you do image. That's because we use these little green bars here are what divide up from one shot to another. So I'm just going to move this one down here, for example. And you can see now we've actually changed which words are in which segment. And so I can keep doing this till I get it exactly at the timing that I particularly want. Similarly, I can very easily create new segments. And then when I create a new segment, you can see here it shows this little static image. That's on purpose. So I can go now over to replace image. And it says you can turn. So I'm just going to type in those words. And what this will do is search from our clip library. We have a partnership with Getty. We also have integrations with Bing and Jiffy, as well as Lexica, so that wherever you might want to find an image from, you can. And so I can go browse through a variety of options. If I want something, again, I'm a very Giphy, whimsical kind of guy, but if I want to get a bit more serious, I'll go to stock photography and look for something a bit more well done or higher quality imagery. So there we go. We'll just use that one for now. And then you can apply simple filters just like you do in apps like Instagram and Snapchat and all those. You can make easy video effects. So if you remember the beginning of the video, you saw it full screen and a Ken Burns effect. So Ken Burns is the pen scan. If I want to make it zoom in, you can turn these boring. You can make it zoom in just by tapping this one button, or zoom out instead, and we can just see the results of that. These boring. Now you see here, you got me in the middle. That's because over here in the placement tab, we've tried to make some of the more advanced features of apps like Premiere Pro and others super accessible. If I want to be just me, if I want to show the image that was found, there's a variety of fun picture-in-picture options. I can actually control which one's in the foreground and background if I want to. I can do the split screen effect as well. I can turn off that closed caption in case you've been annoyed by that this whole time. So part of the point of this is to make it super fast and easy. I can upload on my own, or I can also generate a piece of content to go right in the middle of my video. So I want to pause there because I know I was showing a lot all at once. But I want to pause in there, Eva, to see if there's anything you want me to show off in particular, or keep moving.
Well, there's a lot of things, actually. I thought about, for example, the YouTuber or the music video creator who's trying to take their existing clip and maybe do something more interesting with it. And I remember seeing the replace image, and you just showed the generate on a stable diffusion prompt. I was wondering if you could show us how you maybe replace something that isn't working for you in your storyline, and then make sure that it is a cohesive piece before you publish it.
Sure, I'm going to do a picture of a webcam just for sake of it. And this is, as you said, stable diffusion. This will go off and generate, etc. But I'll skip for a moment to show you one that I've already done. So in this case, I took a little scene out of a movie I like. I just took 8 seconds of it that paired up really nicely to generative media. So here you go.
We got 12 bottles of water, 56 beers, 2 vodkas, 4 whiskey, 6 bottles of wine, tequila, Nutella, cheese, steaks, a Milky Way.
So I like to show that one because what your audience may or may not know is every image other than the Milky Way was generative, right? And so when you pause on them, you can certainly see some of the artifacts, the words aren't quite right, etc.
Yes.
But it shows how in the context of telling a story, of bringing a narrative to life, some of those details actually don't quite matter that much anymore, right? And so that's just one example of how we're using generative media so far. But we're also using it to tell the whole story. So I'm happy to move into showing you some of that, unless there's a piece of this one I missed so far.
I am super curious, as a video creator, how do rights management issues? You mentioned that you have deals with Getty and these other repos. How does that work as a creator? Does that end up becoming like a massive description line, or does that information get shared or carried through somehow?
We've tried to make it as easy as possible. First of all of the content that will surface to you, you have the rights to use in your video. So if you used our replace image feature, everything that comes up, you can put in there. We will respond to all DMCA takedown requests in case something comes through, but we're using the APIs of those companies where they've taken on that burden already of working with the content industry to make sure things are okay. Similarly, but similar to products like iMovie or Premiere Pro, if you yourself go and source some clip that we don't know where it came from, we're not doing anything about that, because generally speaking, the tools, we'll do our best to make sure we're not making things wrong, but it's impossible for us to be absolutely perfect to make sure others don't as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And your mileage may vary in terms of what fair use looks like where you are in the world. So YouTube has different rules, and your mileage may vary across the board.
Well, once you've done all the replacements you want, you can hit publish, take your MP4 to go. So we can do all sorts of things like that. But what I want to show you is what's coming into the product. And we haven't made this available in the beta yet, so I'm going to show you this from one of our internal servers. But we've integrated a full GPT-3 chat engine. Effectively, if you're familiar with ChatGPT, which I'm assuming everybody who follows this is going to be, we're working very quickly right now to be as smart as the ability to say, make me a 30-second video about X, and whatever X is, it's gone out, found their info, found the images, put it together, and shows up in your inbox 15 minutes later. And so let me show you a demo of what the potential of that is. We do have most of the parts working. We just don't have it as a seamless user experience yet. So that's all we're waiting for. It's not the tech. It's just bringing it all together.
I love this. But this is built in the Augie tool, right? So this is the same part of the same package. Perfect.
That's
yeah,
right.
Let's bring it in.
So what I did is I said, write me a narration for a video promo for 10 fictional awkward reality TV shows. And I will say I did a little tiny bit of I swapped out a couple of words here and there, but for the most part, this is all from what the system generated. And then this has gone through Augie.
Awkward entertainment.
Sorry, this has gone through Augie to add all the visuals.
Are you ready for some cringeworthy, awkward entertainment? Look no further than our new lineup of reality TV shows. From The Breakup Show, where couples publicly break up on camera, to The Awkward Family Reunion, where estranged family members are brought together for a weekend of uncomfortable interactions. And for the job seekers, The Job Interview, where job candidates are put through a series of increasingly embarrassing and awkward interviews. We also have The First Date Experiment, where strangers go on a series of blind first dates in front of a live audience. The Confession Room, where people confess their deepest secrets and regrets to a panel of strangers. The X Factor, where exes compete against each other in challenges to determine who is the better match for the XE. The Roommate Swap, where people swap homes and roommates for a week, leading to inevitable awkward encounters. And The Awkward Talent Show, where contestants perform their least polished talents in front of a live audience. The Parent-Child Showdown, where adult children confront their parents about long-held grudges and unresolved issues. And The Awkward House Party, where strangers are invited to an uncomfortable social gathering where they have to navigate through the awkward situations. So tune in to the most awkward and entertaining reality TV shows, only on GPT TV.
So that was entirely created and voiced through AI. We've done a partnership with AugXLabs, which is a great artificial voice startup. Part of what is so good about their tech, as you probably could hear in that video, is it's designed more around overall narratives as opposed to individual words or phrases. So let's do this, though. I'm going to show you how that one got generated. Sound good?
Yes, I'd love to see it. All right, so we're going to bring in, yes.
Okay. So this is, again, on an internal server, but we're looking forward to making this available to everybody very soon, where we can go to hit generate. And now we have a few options. And so the first option is as simple as type a subject, have it generate a video. We also, where you can just cut and paste the URL. And we have cut and paste the URL with some options if you want to choose a male or female voice, length of time. And then we have the one that we're most excited about. This is our storytelling assistant. And so what we're going to do now, I do have handy for our conversation here. I'm a huge hockey fan. So this is a link to the Wikipedia page about my team, the Montreal Canadiens, in the 1993 Stanley Cup. And so what I want to do is make let's call it a 45-second video using a neutral voice targeting, let's just target my generation. Let's target younger than me. Let's go to the Zoomers, as they call them. And let's give it an uplifting tone and pick a perspective. By the way, when I mentioned we're working on the UX, we're working on the UX.
Yeah.
But this will go off and now generate a transcript and do all those fun things. What I'm going to do though is take you into a already done version of it. So we'll pull it back out of the oven. But this one is the output of something like that. And so this is again an artificially generated script entirely from a web page, voiced by AI. There's actually one glitch in the voice that hockey fans might notice. I pulled it into Augie, and you can see what it's created here. So this is again this is minutes of work.
The 1993 Stanley Cup Final saw the Montreal Canadiens take on the Los Angeles Kings. The Canadiens, led by goaltender Patrick Roy, were looking to win their 24th Stanley Cup in franchise history. The Kings, led by Wayne Gretzky, were looking to win their first ever Stanley Cup. After a hard-fought series, the Canadiens emerged victorious in 5 games. Montreal won the first 2 games at home before dropping Game 3 in Los Angeles. They then won Games 4 and 5 to clinch the series and their 24th Stanley Cup title. Roy was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP for his stellar performance throughout the playoffs.
All right, so we've got background there. You've got a fair amount of like easy to put together B-roll or documentary footage or news clips, YouTube, music videos. I mean, there's at least a dozen more use cases I can think of. Educational, for good. There's so many.
That's the one that I always like to tell people is education. If you've ever had kids, and I have 3, if you've ever watched them watch any form of educational video online, you know, it is what it is, right? Yeah. I've taken lectures they've watched, brought them into Augie, done the picture-in-picture thing, just picture-in-picture, not doing too extravagant stuff. And you can see the retention rates go skyrocketing. In fact, we have now made hundreds of videos on YouTube, just experimenting, taking other people's content and remixing it, you know, stuff that's available, not for profit, but just to show the A versus B. And what we're seeing is the engagement times in our YouTube videos are longer than the average. The engagement rates are higher than average, and the retention is longer than average than at typical talking head videos. So the ROI on this is unquestionable for anybody who needs to use video for a purpose. One of the sort of hidden things here is video needs to have a purpose, right? Like, we don't make video for the sake of making video. We make video for the sake of accomplishing an objective. So our goal is to basically make that objective more readily at people's hands when they need it to be.
Right. That storytelling tool alone, I can see that for a teacher being able to take hours of work and make it, 5-10 minutes of work. That video, how long does that take you to make? You said something like 5-10 minutes in the first iteration?
What we're finding, so the system will create the original video in just a few minutes. Right now in the beta on the servers we're on, it's down to it started at 10 minutes in January 1. We're now down to about 2-3 minutes. It should be under a minute by the time we're like really in the late stages. Right. So if you're trying to make, let's just say you are trying to make a new video on your homepage to promote your latest book, and you know the video is going to help it because you can give your own voiceover, explain what the reader is going to get out of it. If you hired an agency to do that, the expected cost of a 30-second internet video is between $800 and $1,200. For a TV ad, it's between $5,000 and $12,000, right? Production time, hours to weeks. For us, everything we do is measured by minutes. So by enabling and empowering those of us who don't have the tools, we're helping that market. we're also seeing pro video editors are using it now, because what we've done, and I talk to these folks all the time because there's so many of them using our product, and I've worked with them over the years, and their reaction's not like, oh my God, you're taking my job. The reaction very quickly is, oh, I can do the fun parts of my job with more time, right? And that's where, to me, that summarizes what AI assistant is supposed to do. Take away the boring work, give you the fun parts.
Do you think because these are sort of short, easy clips, so it keeps you interested as it moves through the story? Or what do you attribute that to?
I have two theses. My first thesis is that just, the picture tells 1,000 words. If I'm talking to you about the history of, I'm looking for something around my room to talk about, but the history of printers, right? Even if you were interested in printers, if I were to say, oh, the first printer ever made was 6 feet long by 10 feet wide, whatever, like there's nothing like what you just want to see that right here, right now, right? Like, I'm like, you want to show me, don't tell me, right? So that's the first reason we think that the videos are getting more engagement. You're seeing stuff that you want to be seeing. But the second thing, and again, I cannot back this up with data at this point, but we've spent 3 years now in this environment, right? Most people have been on Zoom calls for a significant, and I know we're not on Zoom, but most people have